Ta-da! What's up, everyone? I'm Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Gosslings. And this is our weekly live stream that we do every Sunday at 4:30 Central Standard Time.
Yes.
16:30 if you're on military time, if you're, not Zulu time, but whatever. So today is an awesome episode. We're really looking forward to this. We have a special guest.
Yep.
And Nick, do you want to maybe give a brief, quick little intro?
Yeah, our interview guest today is John Bennardo.
Yeah.
And he is a documentary filmmaker. He's a writer and author. We're going to be talking about his book.
Yeah.
And he's got, I think he owns a video production company in Florida, I believe. He's just got a lot going on. He's done a lot. I think he's done screenwriting. He's a humor writer and a satirist. And you're really going to love this interview. We're talking about cancel culture.
Yeah.
And how he has satirized it in his book, Just a Typo. We'll bring him on in just a moment.
Yeah.
Before we do, though,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do our toast?
Yeah, let's do the toast.
Yes.
So every week, in case you're just tuning in for the first time or you're catching this on the back end, we do a toast. It's sort of our mantra for the Goslings that we came up with.
Every good club has a motto.
Every good club has a motto, and we're no different except for the good part. So raise your glass if you have one. Whatever you're drinking, water, bourbon, Earl Grey, whiskey.
Yep.
Kool-Aid, soda, and
whatever tickles your pickle.
That's right. Yeah, and one of us will say the first part, and then very liturgical. The other people will all say the second part.
I think I went first last time.
Yeah, I think so. Real quick, what are we drinking?
Oh, right. Flavor of the week, Michter's Rye Bourbon.
Yeah, nice. Where'd you get that? He's just gonna throw it across.
The same place I get all my liqueurs.
Oh yeah.
Just the little place down the street.
They always
it's supposed to go in my mouth.
The little place. Oh, you got the Irish Happy Trail
on the table
already.
Yeah,
man, he hadn't even tried to sip it yet. That's a sad.
Yeah, it's good. We're good.
Yeah, okay, good. It's past the table test. Yep. The tabletop taste test.
Should have wiped this table.
Yeah, whatever. It just makes your immune system stronger. So okay, so I'll start, and then everybody else can follow along. Take up the broken sword of your father
and strike down the darts.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Ooh, that was a very small sip.
Michter's never disappoints. Like it always just hits exactly as it should, And Delta asks, what happened to the bottle I sent with you? Yeah, don't worry. Delta I got him something for Father's Day.
Oh yeah.
And so he sent me home with a bottle of Legend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
It's nice. It is unopened in my pantry. I have about this much Lagavulin left.
Oh, you got to work towards it.
I gotta
earn that.
Yeah, I gotta save it.
Earn that Legend.
I might actually. It might be a July 4th drink.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We're doing this next week, by the way, and then we're gonna shoot fireworks and then drink and shoot fireworks. We'll do it in
whatever
judicious order.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll be prudent about it. Very cool. Special thanks to Delta for watching this live. I know there are a couple others that are watching this live right now too. If you're not watching this live and you're watching it on the replay, join us every week, 4:30. Join in the chat. It's going to be great. This week's topic, cancel culture, and this book, Just a Typo, which is hilarious. I'm just over maybe a third through it, and it's fantastic. We're going to talk to the author.
And it's available on Amazon, Goodreads, and is it available through John Bennardo's website as well? Or?
I don't know, actually. Let's ask him.
We'll ask him.
Maybe
we might have some questions.
It's not. No, he's shaking his head no. Go straight to Amazon.
Yeah.
Buy the book. We'll make sure that a link is in the description of the video as well.
I was so excited when Nick mentioned this because we both are big into observation of cancel culture and just zeitgeist in general. Yeah. And I didn't have enough time to really dig into this. Nick carved out some time to do it, but I'm fascinated. So I can't wait for this.
And a special thanks to our guest for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, without further ado, let's bring on the man himself, ladies and gentlemen, introducing John Bennardo.
Hey guys,
John,
how are you?
How's it going?
Not bad, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're very excited to have you, man. This is a real treat. So.
Yeah, like when I talked to you earlier, John, when I called you, I said, look, let me be very clear. You're doing us a favor. Okay?
Right, yeah.
Which we really appreciate this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And it was just a couple days ago, and he was able to do this and willing to do this weekend. So I'm like, oh crap, I got to get his book. So I ordered it. It came in the mail, and I'm getting my way through it, but I've only had a couple days to do it.
Yeah.
So
but you're liking what you read already. You're liking.
It's hilarious. It's great.
Yeah. What very little I've had a chance to read has been really funny.
Yeah.
The humor is spot on. It's really, you can really tell the timbre of the speaking voice in there has a comedic flair to it. It's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe John, we could start off by you telling about who you are, a little bit about your background, and then tell us what this book is about.
Yeah.
Well, I've been, that's a loaded question. I've been a writer since I was a child. I was just one of those things where when I was bored, I wrote poems and stories, and that was just how I filled my time before the days of internet and whatnot. And that's always been with me. The creative juices and the need to make fun of things has always been with me.
Yes.
And so always been there. So I went to graduate school in Los Angeles as a screenwriter, almost sold a script out there once. And I've written several screenplays and, living my life, running my business. And to make a long story short, a year or so ago when I started this book, it was an idea that I had for a screenplay. I said, I'll do this as like a fake documentary about this guy that got arrested. And then people talk about how it happened. And I said, well, I just don't really feel like writing a screenplay right now. It's so structured and you have to keep it condensed. And I just felt like going back to my roots as a writer and writing prose, where I could just go off on a tangent, as you might have read in the first third of the book. Sometimes I just go off on this little tell a story about something. And you're able to do that in a book. You're not able to do that in a screenplay. So I said, this is the kind of writing I want to do right now. And so in addition to a topic that I wanted to tackle, it was a format that I felt I really wanted to pursue. And so I was able to sit down and just hack away and write whatever came to my mind and let the story go whatever direction it took me. And it was a really enjoyable experience. And now I think, the next thing I'm going to write will probably also be a book, because I'm enjoying going back to my childhood roots.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's funny. In this book, I read, Jonathan hasn't read it yet, but I wanted to read to him just the tweet that Mo Riverlake, the protagonist in the story, sends out, and there's a typo in the tweet, and it's totally well intentioned. Yeah. And the rest of the book is how it has completely backfired. Yeah. In his, as far as I can tell so far. Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. I laughed out loud multiple times already.
As soon as Nick showed me the tweet, the infamous tweet that is sort of the kernel of the book, the alternate title came to my head of like, he could have also called it Taking the L,
Oh, okay. Well, that might not have, it's a good title. I struggled with titles. One of my titles was originally called Easily Offended, because ultimately that's what the book talks about, is how easily offended everyone is. As soon as this guy is accused of being a homophobe because of his typo, which I'm not giving too much away there, but as soon as that happens, then people now have a perception about him, and suddenly all of his actions, past and future, are taken as this is a bad guy. Yeah. And that's kind of what the book is about. It's about how once we get a perception about somebody and once we have an opinion, it won't change. No matter if the guy apologizes or, you understand that it was a typo, you're done. I mean, you're finished. You're canceled. You're put aside. Anything that you do is now in the context of this is a bad guy. This is a racist or a homophobe or what have you. Right. And he becomes one of the most hated people on the planet. It's all because of a typo.
All because of a typo.
And that's it. It's true.
And that's the thing. Like, it is everything. It's almost like everything is geared towards building someone up, tearing them down, and then having the power to give them a redemptive story, an atonement story that they're in control of. Mm-hmm.
Well, except there's no atonement in this one. This one just goes.
It just keeps going downhill.
There's no. I don't know. If you're expecting him to be a hero at the end, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not happening.
So I did have a question about the main character. He's a game show host. Mm-hmm. What motivated you to choose that as the character, the protagonist?
Well, we had a few minutes of conversation before I came on, and we know what we were talking about. And I think you're probably connecting those dots, and that's why you're asking me. But I've always enjoyed game shows. I've been on a couple myself. I just find it to be, I like playing games. I was always somebody who played games. I've got games in my closet, and bring over game night, bring some couples over, and I'm on board with that. So it's always been something I enjoyed. And it's just the world of game shows and game show hosts, just to me, is ripe for silliness. And so the game show that he ends up, and you haven't read it yet, but the game show that he ends up hosting is just so stupid and funny that it was my ability or my way of having fun with the game show format, making this guy the host of it, and overseeing all these silly proceedings and becoming famous doing it. That's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like such a perfect occupation for someone to crash and burn, because because a game show is all about frivolity and fun,
color
and
upbeat
and smiling, and capped bleached teeth and spray tan and coiffed hair, and just so it's not like an actor who might play a multitude of roles and might delve in the darkness a little bit, or someone like a fashion celebrity who's not expected to be hitting triple digit IQ,
right?
Or or someone or an athlete, who like all he's got to do is play the sports ball. Mm-hmm. It's like a game show host, man. Like it's all built on happy.
Well, game show hosts are safe. I mean, like you think of the Trebeks. And the Sajaks and all those guys. And it's like, I go, people watch those games because they retreat, they're fun to watch. And it's like, you're not going to be surprised. There's nothing there that's threatening. Yeah. You love this guy. He's always the same. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's not.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden he steps out of his lane accidentally with a typo.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he's not as famous as a Sajak and a, Alex Trebek. I mean, he's just not, as you'll see. He has a successful show, but he's not like he thinks he's a bigger celebrity than he is. So, when the typo comes out, people are coming after him. Some of them didn't even know who he was beforehand. It's just the mentality is, he did something wrong, attack.
Oh, there's Who is this guy?
Yeah. Blood in the
water,
I hate
him, right?
Yeah.
I don't know him, but I hate him already.
Yeah. That is such a big thing in the internet. It's
the gravitational pull of mob mentality. They don't
really
even know who they're attacking, but I'm going to
Hey, it's
something going on over here. I'm going to go over and jump on.
Yeah, because the dog pile is so tempting, because we're tribal creatures. So it's like if you see a bunch of people jumping on somebody, then it's like you don't want to be left out.
You don't know what's wrong, but the group says it's wrong, so let's go.
So let's go after it.
Jump on the train, get on the train, and ride it with everybody else.
Well, and it's a recent book too. It came out this year, right?
Yeah, earlier. I think it was early February.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
So you've had, because that was one of the questions I asked him, because if it was written 5 years ago, it would have been a different world. Like every 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So I guess what motivated you to write the book, and what motivated you to write the book now, I guess.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. That's really great. Yeah, that was my next question. I mean, we're saying
sharing the same brain, right?
Yeah. Well, you think about. I mean, recently we've seen like what
our head's so thick we can only split one brain. John,
right.
So
it's one thought between the two of you. It's got to be the same one.
It's a big day. Come on.
we've been seeing cancel culture, and you can list. Louis C.K. Right. Kevin Spacey.
Right.
Anything and everything related to Trump. Yeah. Gina Carano, Ellen DeGeneres,
right.
Most recently Rudy Giuliani. It's people just keep getting just canceled. The rug's pulled out from under them. Their career and their lives are over.
Yeah.
But which one was it for you where you're like, that's it, I'm satirizing this nonsense?
Yeah. Well, I started the book in actually almost the exact, I think tomorrow, June 28, I started 2019. Really? That's the day I started writing it. It was June 28, awesome. 2019. So at the time, none of the people you just mentioned were newsworthy. And so cancel culture wasn't where it is now. And it was funny because when I was writing it, people are getting canceled left and right. I'm like, I got to get this book done because I got to ride this wave of
it's happening right
news.
In front of me. Yeah.
And my mom's yelling at me going, finish the book. I'm like, I have to, it needs time. I have to do it properly. I can't rush it out there. So as far as what made me write, I wasn't like saying to myself, I need to satirize cancel culture. It's so big. It was just an idea. The tweet actually came to me. Somewhere along the line, I said, geez, can you imagine if someone did that? because I'm kind of a song parodist. I'm a Weird Al Yankovic fan, and I know since you read part of the book, the main character is a Weird Al Yankovic fan.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the
UHF, greatest movie ever made.
Right. Again, not giving anything away here, but the main character is a fan of Weird Al Yankovic, as I was, and he likes writing parodies for his own entertainment, and then he sings them at nightclubs when he's famous, and a couple of them are dirty and get him in trouble, among everything else he does. So my natural instinct when I hear a song is to come up with the alternate line, the Weird Al line, and one of them, which had the word that he mistweets. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll let people had that word in the title. And the first place I went, whether it makes me a bad person or not, was without the L. Because it's funny, right? It's a funny and it rhymes. It's like the same. It's like the closest you can get to parodying the word. And so I thought of it as a song, and it made me laugh in the car. And and I was like, geez, can you imagine though if someone put that song out? I mean, that would be like they'd crucify him. And it kind of just went from there, where I said, well, what if someone tweeted this out? And then I started saying, and then of course, because cancel culture had been going, it wasn't like I said, okay, I want to satirize this. I was like, well, this is what would happen. And can you imagine if this happened? And then I started thinking of things I did in my past, because I wanted to write something where I included my own personal stories. And I said, well, I did this, and I wore Halloween costumes back in the day that probably would be looked at as offensive. And so you haven't gotten there yet, but he wears some Halloween costumes when he gets out of college at parties, and those come back to haunt him because, if you dress as an Indian 20 years from now, or if you dressed as an Indian 20 years ago, you're going to offend the Indian community now because you put a headpiece on. So that's where it just was like, I started realizing this is funny, and this is funny, and this is how people would act. And can you imagine every little thing that someone does gets them in trouble? And that's what I wrote. That's what the book is.
It's gotta be. I mean, even worse now, like if someone did that now, post COVID, post pandemic, cancel culture is worse than it was, like you said, even 2 years ago. Do you think the response culturally would be as extreme as what's in the book?
Well, I'm almost, I had to be careful writing the book because I wanted to make sure I didn't offend anybody. And I don't think I did. I made the offensive things happen to the main character, and he doesn't do anything offensive either. Everything's misinterpreted.
Right.
Okay, that's everything he does. The guy doesn't do anything wrong, but he's looked at as doing everything wrong. And I almost, I come on interviews like these, and I want to share like one of the Halloween costumes in the book, which I wore when I was younger, and I'm almost afraid to describe it because now people can look at me and go, "That's offensive." Well, I was 23 years old, and going and having a few beers and going to a costume party. I wasn't thinking of who I might offend in a different time 20 years from now.
Right. Yeah.
So one of them, I'll tell one of them. It's and this is the fact that I'm like scared to say it, even though it's in the book in a fictional piece of work. The fact that I'm scared to admit that I wore this costume is like a sign of the times, because someone's going to look at me and go, "You did that? You wore that?" Right. I wore a costume. I dressed as the Amish Superman. So I put a hat on and a beard, or I put an S on my chest, and I was the Amish Superman. So, it's funny, right? Because my thing was to take two things that don't go together and combine them, and that's the costume, because it gets a laugh. But then I could see somebody who's watching this who has an Amish friend or something going, "Well, I'm offended by that," and you have a right to be, I guess. I mean, right? I can't tell you how to think. Yeah. I didn't do anything. I don't feel like I intentionally was making fun of Amish people. I was also making fun of Superman, so you might as well get all the DC Comics people mad at me. Yeah, but it's exactly. I mean, it's innocent. I know now as an adult, maybe if you thought about it, if you were thinking smart, if you understood things better, you wouldn't address it. But I don't think I should be. I can't. Again, I can't tell people what to think. But I didn't. There was no malice behind that costume. It was just funny.
Yeah, but doesn't cancel culture? But they can, right? Cancel culture.
Well, that's the problem.
What other people
That's
think.
why. Yeah, I'm not afraid, but I mean, I'm sitting here like it's wary of saying what I dressed as 25 years ago, because someone out there might get offended, which I think is silly. But again, I have to respect people's. If you're offended, you're offended. I'm sorry. Whatever. However, the fact that there's so many people out there looking for a reason, looking for something to get mad at me for or get offended by. I mean, I've got bigger things to worry about in my life than how somebody dressed for Halloween 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You could. They have these.
Yeah, and there's no statute of limitations on that. Like they will go back as far as they can, find every little thing and make it public.
Yeah, and that's the book. That's what's in the book. That's exactly what happens. And so there's politicians that they had politicians with blackface on 30 years ago, and that's not brilliant. But listen, the guy was 20 years old in college. I mean, I'll throw him a bone. Hopefully you learn from it. You won't do it again. But that's 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, the world is different. 2 years ago, the world was a completely different world.
Yeah.
And now there are all these new issues and new sensitivities and new triggers, if you will. I mean, 30 years ago? Come on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, it just, we've talked about this sort of thing before.
Oh, yeah.
But John, I'm interested to hear, what do you think the root psychological or sociological causes are for cancel culture?
I think that people are, let me see how I put this. People are to some degree dissatisfied with their own lives and situations or aspirations to be better than they are. And they try to reach those heights by bringing down others.
Yeah.
So it's a typical long-standing psychological thing that the one way to feel better about yourself is to bring others down. Now, the most mature people get around that and don't need to do that, have enough self-confidence to not have that be an issue. But so many people who are at home in their 9-to-5 job see a celebrity making millions of dollars to pretend he's somebody else on TV, say something offensive, and now there's a forum to voice your frustration with that and knock the guy down a peg. And as soon as you knock the guy down a peg, everybody who sees that wants to join in, like we said earlier. Everybody wants to join in on the caravan and pull people down. And I think that it's, in fact, there's a great line in the book. One of my favorite things is that he starts to offend so many people, different races, that things that, I mean, he's not doing it, of course, it's stuff that's dredged up from his past. But there's a couple of ethnicities who have yet to be offended. And they become offended because they've yet to be offended. Like, you haven't made
They're left out of the victim. The victim.
You'll see the line. You'll recognize it now when you read it. They go, I forget the exact way I phrased it, but they became offended for not become offended. Like, you left us out. You didn't come after me yet. You didn't say anything to offend me. I want to be included in this. I want to be included in being harassed, and so I can voice my opinion. And then he makes fun of, like, if something happens and the lower income people get affected. And so then a lot of people go out and start applying for food stamps so that they can join the ranks of that group so that they can take offense.
Yes.
John,
like, I can't wait to get to that part.
There's a spike in food stamp applications because people want to be able to join the ranks of the white trash thing that he says by accident, and they want to be offended. So they that's what, like, please do something to me. Do something to me.
I love it. Well, do you ever get to a point, John, when you were writing this, where you thought, because this is very much satire, it's very much parody, it's very it sort of skirts that same territory as Matt Stone and Trey Parker with South Park, and but we live in an age where, I say this all the time, like, we always talk about this, we almost live in an age where satire is rendered moot. Is there a moment when you were writing this where you were watching the news and writing this where you thought, like, I can't top reality? Like, reality is more bizarre and goofy than, it's a job at that point,
No, I don't think that's the case at all. In fact, the more far-fetched reality is, the more ripe it is for satire. It's easier to do. So I don't have a problem with that at all. And I can make fun of, give me some topics to make fun of. So the more stuff appears on the news, if I was still writing at that time, I'd find a way to maybe work something like that into the story. Because I'm getting all my information from what I'm seeing. I'm just reacting to what I see. So show me more and I'll...
It's fuel.
Show me more and I'll satirize it. Yeah.
Based on what you see, right? Based on what you see out there and all the different platforms online, social platforms, which one's the worst? Which one is the most volatile and toxic and most likely to get you fallen victim to cancel culture, the cancel culture mob? You think it's Twitter or Facebook? What do you think?
Would you rather not say?
No, it's probably Twitter, because that's where most of the trouble started. But it could be Instagram. You could post an offensive picture. That's happened to a bunch of people. But you can also post an offensive picture on Twitter. But Twitter, you could just say something, which a lot of people have, that's wrong. And in the case of my book, it's Twitter. He sends out a tweet, leaves out one letter, and then then somebody reads. Well, the problem is you haven't gotten there yet, but it gets retweeted, and so
is there a little bit of because he's a game show host, because he's a triple or he's a AA celebrity, who has a bit of maybe an ego problem or a bit of a insecurity complex. is there a part of him that's sort of like hoisted by his own petard kind of thing?
Yeah, he's let's see, he's a bit of a narcissist, but he's kind of an idiot narcissist. I mean, again, you probably read some of the lines.
Kind of guy.
Yeah, he just doesn't realize, and he says like there's, and one of my favorite lines in the book, and neither of you haven't read it yet either, is he's in court dealing with what happens. And his lawyer actually says, none of this is malicious. This is just him being, a little bit of a social misfit and having social naivete or something like that. He uses the word naivete. Yeah. And then when he finishes the argument, the main character, Mo, turns to him and says, "Hey, that was great. I love the fact that you used the word naivete. I just hope the judge understands Pig Latin." So that sums up the character for you. Like he's social. Like his lawyer just basically told it, look, this guy doesn't mean to hurt anybody. He's just a little bit socially immature and lacking in naivete. And he goes, great use of the word, but I just don't. Did he not use Pig Latin or not? And that to me, that is him. Like that's the guy. Like so. To answer your question, that's who he is.
Yeah. That's awesome. I wanted to run something by you. When we were setting this up, on our Facebook page, I set up an event talking about this interview, and of course the trolls came out.
Oh, really?
Trolls come out. Oh, yeah. And one guy who wasn't really argumentative, but obviously kind of on a different side of the line, he posted it was a quote, and I wanted to read the quote from you. It's a quote by LeVar Burton. Who actually, I kind of like LeVar Burton. Always had. I remember him
Jordy
as a kid.
LaForge.
Yeah,
baby,
man,
come on.
absolutely. Reading Rainbow, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, love the guy. But there's this quote by him. I wanted to read it to you, and then a LeVar Burton quote, and then kind of get your input, get your thoughts. Sure. I know this is kind of fresh.
Give me the context. So you posted what? What exactly did you post first?
It was I posted. It was basically a Facebook post, an event
saying that I was going to be on the show, Cancel Culture.
Talking about cancel culture. That's exactly
and without knowing who I was or the book, he decides to chime in on cancel culture.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And the quote says, quote, "In terms of cancel culture, I think it's misnamed. I think we have a consequence culture, and that consequences are finally encompassing everybody in the society," unquote.
Well, that's Burton. Okay. That's
and to give you a little context of the quote, he said this when he was a guest on The View.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, okay, the word consequence to me means that we have a society that is ready to provide a consequence for any misdeed at all. Cancel culture, in my opinion, is a situation where you may or may not have a misdeed. In the case of the book is a perfect example. Most of the time it is a misdeed, let's face it. But things can be taken out of context. People are very eager to make judgments without facts. We learned that recently. So cancel culture, in my opinion, is canceling someone because of what is a perceived misdeed.
Yeah.
Whereas consequence culture is what you did is a misdeed regardless. And that's kind of the problem with cancel culture, is that everything is perceived as a misdeed and not given an opportunity. This guy in this book, he sends out a tweet right away when he learns what happened and says, I meant to say this word. I left out the L's.
Something sympathetic. It was something
and
sympathetic.
Nobody reads it and goes, oh, maybe the guy, maybe he did that. I could see how that could happen. The L's on the side. And nobody, and it's the way our world works. I don't think anybody's going to look at it and go, yeah, that's possible. He may have made a mistake.
Right.
There's no fun in that. No, that's an excuse. You're trying to get out of it. You're trying to get, you get your butt out of harm's way. And that is my opinion, and that is my take on cancel culture. And that's the difference between cancel and consequence, is that this guy never has a chance to explain what could have been very easily explained and understood. Everybody's going right to the consequence. So the book is consequence culture, but it could have been cancel culture if they'd have given him a chance to explain it, and then it might have gone away.
Yeah.
Well, the scary thing about cancel culture is something that I've noticed for probably about 12 years now with some of the friends that I've had, which is where I've had arguments with people about intent. And that seems to be like his intention in this, obviously, is sympathetic. Yeah. It's compassionate.
Yeah.
It's also politically correct, and it's expedient to his career in theory. You know,
well, you haven't. There's more that you haven't read yet. That there's a little more to it than that. Something else that's going to happen is the motivation behind the tweet. But it is a tweet done for nothing but good reasons, not even selfish reasons. Although selfish in a family way, you'll know what I was talking about. But it's done with good intentions, and he's in a hurry and he leaves out the L.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's not. Maybe I cut you off before you made your point, but it's definitely something where he has no malice at all.
Yeah.
Right. But the problem seems to be when facing cancel culture, not just that you're not given a chance to explain, because no one really wants that from you. They just want to feast on the on the blood of for the sake of their own ego,
right.
Very vampirically, or like hungry hyenas around a gazelle. But but there's also an assumption of your intent if you're the naughty guy, the no guy, and also their infusion of their experience into your intent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very bizarre place to be in as far as a society goes.
Yep.
And it's kind of a dangerous place to be in, because then you're getting into that Orwellian thought crime world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, it goes to people doing what I said earlier, where they just don't feel good enough about themselves to not have to drag people down to feel good. I mean,
well, no one worried about that 20 years ago. I mean, like 20 years ago, I'm 38, so 20 years ago is like, not a big deal for other people. But I remember being in high school and then in college, being young, and you could tease each other, if you had a white friend who was, whatever, or you had a black friend, or an Indian friend, whatever the identity politics spectrum is, you could all still make fun of each other, and everybody trusted that at the end of the day, you're still friends, you love each other. That's also guy culture. It's a masculinity thing to be able to, and there's a real assault, I think, please don't let me get you in trouble, but I think there's a real assault on that tribal ability as men to be able to tease each other, and so I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm laughing because, and you've read the book. You've read The Birthday Party. His guests at his birthday party, his 4 best friends. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those friends, obviously, it's exactly what Nick just said. It's really? Those 4 friends are of different ethnicities, but they love each other. They grow up together. They will spend the next 30 or 40 years insulting each other. Based on that, right? And you'll see it in the book. And eventually it's going to come to a point where that's no longer tolerated, but those guys love each other, and everything they do, the way they talk to each other, is fun and love. One of my good friends from college is Jewish. I'm not Jewish, but we teased him. He teased me for being Italian in college, and I teased him for being Jewish. And, you go to the stereotype of Jews being, frugal and whatnot. So we, to this day, we still, I'll text him and he'll make a Jewish joke that, criticizes himself before I get to it. And I'll say, damn, you beat me to it.
Yeah. How dare you beat me to my own.
I was going to do that, but he knows, and I know it's just fun. I would never say it to anybody else, but this guy, because he knows, and he plays along, and he throws it right back at me with Italian, and we love it. If he didn't do that to me, I would feel like there's something going wrong with our friendship. But if anybody on the outside overheard us doing that, they'd say, how dare you say that to a Jewish person? You can't say that. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying it to a Jewish person. I'm saying it to my friend.
Right.
So again, there's that line there, and that gets, again, knowing the story I just told you, I put that into the book. They can only talk to each other a certain way until a tweet comes out that makes him offensive. And now he's got 4 friends who he's been talking to this way forever, and you see what happens.
Yeah.
It's a very similar, or it's a parallel to that scene from Gran Torino where Clint Eastwood goes into the barbershop, and the barber is Italian. And so their whole conversation is just hammering on each other.
That's great. That's
but
they're friends.
It's a sign of respect. Totally. It's a sign of respect when you can do that. When you can say something and they know that you're just teasing, and you can dish it as well as you can take it. It's really a bonding thing.
It is.
And there's not as much of that anymore because people are afraid to say something, and someone might get offended now.
Yeah. We have that problem at my job. I work at a gun shop, and the owner is also the gunsmith. And so, and he's a great guy. I've known him for years. We're buddies. And he's Polish. You know, he has a very Polish name, and I have a very German name. You know, and so like we always tease each other. But then there have been a couple times where people have been standing in the on the other side. You got to be like, it's that comedy thing of like, know your audience.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Man, like there have been times where I've told a Polak joke, and or he's told one.
Yeah.
And they don't know that he's Polish, like and we find it hilarious, but outsiders are, and it's just, man, it's tough. Yeah. It's a tough world to operate in. And the temptation is to just like totally withdraw. But
and that's the problem with like, with these platforms, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram.
Social media indulges
you can't really know your audience on those platforms.
Well, there's no way. Your audience could be anybody, and your friends, like, your main character's friends probably know him well enough to be like, oh, whatever. Oh boy. Like, like in the real world, you probably call that guy up and be like, dude, you just screwed up so bad.
Stepped in it, bro.
Stepped
in it big time.
Dude, you need a place to hide, but like that's like, what's the thing? It's like, 200 people, there's a psychological thing. You can only hold so many like names in your brain at any one time. So you only have so many friends.
Yeah.
You can only have so many social people in your brain, in your world at one time. Twitter is millions of people, and they will just, they will gun you down like a flat cannon.
I'm not on Twitter. I don't think I'm ever going to get on Twitter. I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
That's what I love about this conversation, is that everything we're talking about, every example that we give or digression is like in the book. I mean, it makes me feel good to know that like all these little facts about life, about the way, exactly. And I've said all along about the book, I wrote it as crazy and absurd, but it's also entirely plausible what happens in this book. I mean, and when I was writing, I was like, this can never happen. But now it can. I mean, it totally can happen this way.
No, it does.
Have a typo and it would do the exact same thing. So I wrote this absurd novel, which is actually, very realistic. It turned out to be more realistic than I thought.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and it is, it could be very realistic. Like you said, it's entirely plausible.
Yeah.
And, we self-published book. We're fiction writers. I write for kids, 8 to 12. He writes more adult-themed.
Fighting age males.
Yeah, fighting age males. That's his target audience.
Is that your book on the counter there? Is that your book?
Yeah.
And it's not mine. I didn't write that one.
This is
this is John's book.
I was going to say, don't have two books up there. They're not both mine, so only one of them's mine.
I had a special. I had a friend go to great lengths to make this special edition for me. So like anytime we ever do the live stream, I'm always like having it sit right here, just by default, so that my friend can actually make money off of it.
It's a prop of promotion.
It becomes a prop, but this
that's the book.
It's all about right here.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. I wonder if we can put it on my book.
But we're a couple of authors.
I have one too here. I can hold it up.
There we go. Yes. Yeah, there it is. And that's always a concern. Self-published author. We're not going through a traditional publishing house, right? We're just self-published. Trying to just connect directly with our audience, directly with our readers and buyers. Yeah. And there's, because of that, we have to utilize, I'm not going to name any names, but we have to utilize online services to do that. Yeah. And these online services have shown their colors when it comes to cancellation.
Oh, yeah.
Cancel culture, what they will allow and what they won't allow. And if you're a little more leaning towards one side of the political spectrum than the other, you're at risk. So so understanding cancel culture and how bad it can get, it's really important. It's really important to us. Yeah. And I want to know, and we're all trying to figure out how can we just write these, our books and get them to our readers and not have to fear, somebody else who, reads our stuff and like,
how do you navigate those troubled waters? Yeah. Without just like not setting sail at all, because that's the temptation. The temptation is just to be like, okay, well, I just won't exist on social media because it's too risky. But you don't want to. But then it's almost like the principality that you're fighting is one. Yeah. And you don't want to withdraw. So. What is humor the best weapon for that, John?
I always think that, no matter what kind of a day I'm having, if I put a comedy show on TV and it makes me laugh, it's fun, right? There's nothing not fun about laughing, right?
That's true.
So anytime you can laugh, I think it's a win. I mean, you could be doing nothing at home and find something funny and you'll laugh. And I try to, it's hard to keep this up, but I used to have a motto where I tried to watch something funny every night before I went to bed, or read something funny online. So I go to bed laughing, and so for me to write something, on one hand, I'm writing it for myself. If it doesn't make me laugh, it's not funny. You might not have the same humor sensibility as I do. I can't control that, but I'll write what makes me laugh and trust that my humor instincts are good enough that other people will laugh. And I know they will. And that's not modest. I mean, my book is funny. I know it is. It's not for everybody, but it's funny. So for me, it was an enjoyable experience because it makes me laugh. But the goal is to have as many people read it as possible. Not really so that I can get my message out about what I think of cancel culture, but so that I can make you laugh. That's why I write the book. That's the reward. When you guys tell me that you laugh and crack up reading my book, that's the biggest compliment I can have. Now, if you say the reason that I thought it was so funny was because you nailed cancel culture, well, that's a win. I found a topic that I satirized and created humor for you. But ultimately, I just want to live in a world where we laugh more, right? I mean, I wish, I love reading stuff that's funny. I love finding humor in things, and it just makes everything better. And that's, if I could just choose one thing to do in my life and just create humor and laugh all day and have other people laugh with me or at me.
Well, too,
that's great. And make a career doing it.
It's amazing. The last couple of years, people have been so wound up tight politically that it's just two sides screeching at each other. And what's interesting is if you jump over to, you watch some stand-up or you listen to some comedy or whatever, and you might hear a comedian who's on the other side of the political line than you making jokes, and you find yourself laughing at something deep down philosophically you disagree with. But they make, but because
it's funny.
But it's funny, and you can laugh at it, and you're like, you know what? It gives me a little perspective.
And
on
maybe
that.
I should lighten up a little bit and talk to my neighbor.
Humor, it's a powerful weapon.
I think the world needs more, especially now with what's going on. I think people have a need to laugh more. They've been stuck at home with COVID and political climate. Everybody needs to laugh more. And you know what drives me nuts is sometimes I try to promote the book or enter the book into a contest, and they don't have a humor category.
Really?
It's all science fiction, fantasy, romance, teenage, and sometimes there's no humor. It's just general fiction. I have to end, like if I'm trying to do something to promote the book and I'm putting it on a website, and they say, "Well, what's your book's category?" There's no humor. Where's the humor category?
I'm trying to remember. Let's see. I read one paragraph on page 6 before we got started, and I was laughing, and it was like I just flipped right to it. It was let's see. They must have heard me this time because they glanced at each other and began chatting with an assortment of eyebrow raises and shoulder shrugs. And then you go into the grammatical thing of there and there. And I immediately, it's just, this book really is fun.
Yeah, it's great.
Because I'm a grammar Nazi by trade. I'm one of those people that can't help it. And so I gave that. You haven't gotten there yet. She appears in the page 70 or 80, but there's a grammar Nazi in the book. His co-host on the game show is actually a busty blonde who looks like a bimbo, but every word, but she will correct your grammar, and she is as smart as they come. It's funny. It's a great, it's very funny. So she goes around correcting grammatical errors all the time, and again, it's my way to get my own opinion into a character, and she does things that I would do. Like I drive by a sign on the freeway for a housing community, and it says prices start in the low 300s, and there'll be like an apostrophe in there, which is incorrect. And I want to pull over and go into the building and say, "You guys, your billboard, you got to take that apostrophe down."
Have you ever read Lynn Truss's book on punctuation called "Eats, Shoots, and Leaves"?
Yeah, that's the punchline to a joke about what's the difference between a panda and a something else.
I think if I remember correctly, the joke is like the panda walks into a bar or into a restaurant, sits down and looks at the menu, and then just pulls a gun out and shoots somebody and then walks off. And everybody's like, "Oh, what happened there? Like, what's the deal?" And then somebody goes to the dictionary and it says panda eats, comma, shoots, comma, and leaves.
Because the comma,
comma.
But there's a dirty joke that's with that as well. I don't remember it. I'm not going to look it up right now, but there is a dirty joke where the punchline is because she eats, shoots, and leaves, and the difference is the panda. I don't remember what it is. I'm not going to go there. I'll get canceled. I'll get canceled.
I know, we'll get canceled for that. I got an Italian
joke. Look it up.
It is
a punchline for a joke. Eats, shoots, and leaves.
Okay. Maybe. Well, I remember her telling that joke in the in the book, but that probably, the funnier one is, or the dirtier one is probably like the source of maybe the cover. I'm not really,
maybe.
I remember in the book, in the back of the book, there's actually, I don't know if they still do this, but for the trade paperback, they used to give you a little pamphlet of stickers with apostrophes. And she literally advised what John is talking about, going through and finding signs and putting apostrophes where there should be,
removing them,
removing them where they shouldn't be,
whiting them out.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think we've established that cancel culture has no sense of humor.
It doesn't.
It has no sense of humor, which is the only way you can really fight it.
Well, because sense of humor is so, like, gallows humor. The funniest people I've ever known were Marines, because like Marines tend to have a pretty stressful and brutal life, especially if they're deployed. All the Marines who have ever been deployed that I've known were hilarious, because like laughter is such a great coping mechanism. Our dad used to say all the time when I was first starting the books, he told me, Jonathan, write something that's funny, because laughter is the same in every language. Mm-hmm. And that was really wise words. And I knew I was doomed as a writer because I can't do funny. So
I don't know.
So thank God we have John around.
Some of your one-offs, if people go back and listen.
Yeah,
they're pretty darn funny.
Animals are easy. By the way, I will say
writing is different. Writing's different than one-offs. I'm one of those smart asses who can come up with a one-liner at the table that makes everybody laugh. But you sit and read that book and you laugh. But I tell you what, it didn't come out that way. It did not come out that way at all. It takes, it's a craft. It really, and I learned a lot. Just, I haven't written anything this lengthy since I was a child. I never wrote anything that lengthy, but to sit down and write a novel, 20, 30 years after I did most of my prose writing, after writing screenplays for a while, I wrote a first draft I thought was fantastic. I go back and read that now and it's crap.
Right.
It's 10,000 words longer. It's not very funny. Yeah. There's some, and then I had to, and the process of editing was enjoyable to weed it down and come up with a better way to say this and add a joke. And I increased how good the book was exponentially from the time I finished the first draft to what you have in front of you. But it's not, people say, oh my God, he's so funny. That book is funny. Yeah. But it's a craft. It took a while.
And a refinement. Well, it really is like putting something through a forge and turning raw iron into steel. Yeah. Into sharpened, honed steel.
Well, it was like,
and you guys know, you have to be willing to write crap first. Yeah. Even if you're not writing comedy, even if it's romance or stuff, you have to write garbage for the most part. You have to just get it out. You got to spit it out. And it's hard for me to spit it out. I'm like a perfectionist, and I spit out a bad couple of pages, and I almost don't feel like writing anymore. I'm like, I'm no good at this. But you got to get it down, and then once it gets down, then you go back the next day and you fix it, and it comes together. And you're like, wow, if I didn't write the crap I wrote yesterday, this was not possible.
Yep. Yes.
It's clay. You mold the clay. So it's and that's, I'm writing something new, but it's not good yet, and it's hard for me because now I have a finished book that is good, and now I want the next one to be as good, but the first draft is crap right now, and it's hard for me to get around that because I know what it can be. I'm just impatient to get there.
Yeah. Well, it's like that Stephen King quote: "To write is human, and to edit's divine."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I've only been writing for. I just started writing 3 years ago, as far as writing fiction. And trying to create a story and put
it's been really cool watching Nick's
I'm just brand new to this. The
process.
It's been all new to me, and that was the hardest thing. It's like I felt this enormous pressure when I first sat down that whatever I typed, for whatever reason in my mind, that was the final version. That was it. Right. That's what was going to be printed in a book, and I had to force myself to think, no, I just need to get all the garbage out on the page, and I'm going to go back and go over it again, and I'll send it to an editor, and I'll have other people read it and tell me what to change. It was really hard. But I thought as I write, and I still deal with that sometimes. Is this what's going to be on the page? Oh my God, this is awful.
You get self-conscious about. Well, John, you have a much harder job with comedy because for us being fiction writers, like fantasy or genre fiction. Oh, cute! You gotta,
Well, she wants to eat. It's dinner time. So.
It's dinner time.
That's what this is. Yeah, I know all about it.
Love it.
Okay, we'll let you go in a minute.
No, it's not. She can wait. But anyway, I'm sorry. You were saying I just couldn't help but notice she's on camera there. But
that's funny. Mine does that too. Yeah. No, you do have that temptation. I remember I finished the first Angel novel in 2005, and I told myself on the outside, this is it. and it was like almost 1,200 pages long.
Yeah, wow.
This is it. And but deep in your soul, you're like, you're not even close to being done. But it's hard enough as just a fiction writer trying to make all the characters make sense and have a distinctive voice, make sure the plots all make sense, make sure the battles are well crafted and structured, and that you have a little bit of you have a hero's journey and arcs and all this stuff. I think the layer of humor is exponentially tougher. I really do.
Yeah.
Like being like what we were talking about before, being consistently funny, the lyrical rhythm of it, it's just like it's writing like a 7-hour comedy routine.
Yeah, there's definitely a rhythm to it. And in your rewrites, you have to not only make sure it's funny, but you have to make sure you maintain that rhythm. And I tell you, the wording of one sentence makes all the difference as to whether a joke lands or not.
Yeah.
And I learned, you try to make the end of the sentence the funniest part. There's a lot of little things that go into it, some of which I learned, some of which I think were just natural instinct, just knowing that it sounds better this way and it's funnier. And then you watch a comedy writing course and they tell you exactly what you already know. You're like, okay, good, I'm doing it right. But those conventions are all, in the book. And ultimately the proof is you read it. And like I said before, if I don't laugh, it's not funny. So I'm trying to make myself laugh, and and if I'm going to write a comedy, this is my big thing. If I'm going to write a book that I claim to be funny, you better be laughing regularly. You can't tell the story for 8 pages and then get a joke in there. You got to be laughing on every page. That's why you're picking up a comedy novel. And I don't know what, from reading it, the first third of the book, if you're laughing almost every page, but I would, I've had people who read it that said they are laughing almost every single page. So that's hard to do because you just can't. I had sections of the book where I'd go the whole page and I said, wait a second, nothing funny happened at all in that page. I just told the story. Now I got to go back and find a way to make that funny.
Punch it up a little bit.
Put a couple of jokes in there, or change the way he says something so that it's a funny metaphor or something like that. And that's it's like daunting. It's like I look at the book finished and I go, man, how did I do that? But you put your nose to the grindstone, so to speak, and you just do it.
Well, you've had a good bit of training in the utility or the economy of words and the utility of pacing by doing movie scripts. Writing movie scripts and poetry. I mean, both of those together really help with comedy,
Yeah, I think comedy, you can definitely learn it and get better at it. But I think part of it is natural. Some people are naturally funnier than others. And I don't claim to be all that funny. There's a lot of people funnier than I am. But I do
it's pretty funny.
I think again, modestly will say I possess what it takes to be funny. Yeah. It's a craft, and I have to keep. And I didn't do it for a while. I was doing other things in my life, and raising a family and running a business, and so I got away from writing for a little bit. I'm trying to keep that skill fresh by writing short pieces now, and it just takes. I know that the more I write, I'm going to get better and better at it, and hopefully, get to a point where I have a few more books, and then I become a little more known as an author and have a bigger following, and then naturally I will be better because I've written more, and that's one of those self-fulfilling things. Now I write more books that are funnier, and more people read it, and that allows me to write more. But I have what it takes to be funny. I just have to work at it. That's the thing. I have to work at it.
Which, by the way, John, this will be funny. I have to apologize. Part of the reason why I have my book up here was also to block my boob sweat. We went outside earlier, and I had a couple cigarettes while we were talking, and it's like unholy hot in Tennessee
and hot
right now.
It's
like
awful,
so I had this nice little shield. So I'm gonna move this.
And it's a great shirt. It's a good looking shirt.
It's
a really awesome shirt. But
no offense taken by the fact that someone else's book was up there. I just didn't want people to think, what's the other book? Was that one of John's books as well? And I'm like, no, I don't think that book is not cover. Yeah, that cover's not funny. So
right. Yeah. There we go. I wanted to do that one so people could see your book a little.
There
bit
we
more.
go. Yes, there we are. Very good.
Yeah, and the cover is. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just gonna say. I was just gonna ask. What's next? I mean, you've done so much. You've made documentary films.
The $2 bill documentary. This sounds so amazing.
We haven't talked about that. I made a documentary film.
I mean, I get it that why people are so fascinated with the game show thing, but Nick was telling me about this, and I was just like, everything else about John Bennardo sounds so much cooler than just like like the $2 bill documentary.
Yeah,
tell us about that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm so interested.
Yeah, so I was a film student. I was a writing student, but I loved movies. So I was writing movies, but I know how to shoot, I know how to edit and all that stuff. And I had made a couple of short documentaries on my own here locally, and I was looking for another creative project because I like creative projects. And I've got a stack of $2 bills in a drawer that I've saved since I was a kid. And I was like, God, I want to do something with these. These are so cool. And I said, maybe I'll do a documentary on those, and I figured it would be a little history lesson and me spending some at 7-Eleven, hidden camera. Then I started researching it, and when I researched it, it was amazing what I found. And I got lucky that there was an article written about me. I crowdfunded it. People from all over the country emailing me and calling me saying, I was around when they reissued the $2 bill. I worked at the Treasury. And then this guy's like, I have $2 bills that have been to the moon that Gene Cernan took with him on trips. Wow. So I went around the country talking to all these people. Got some amazing stories. A woman whose husband died in 9/11. They identified him by the $2 bill and in his wallet that he had one and she had one that they got when they got engaged. Incredible stories.
Wow. Dang.
And so and you would think, what can you do with a $2 bill? How can you make a 100-minute movie out of $2 bills? And you watch it, and the word I get is surprise. Everybody is surprised that they learned so much and had so much amazing content of interest. Yeah. And so
the $2 bill has been fascinating. I mean, even as a kid, it was fascinating. I remember being a little kid
of the misconception. Yeah. Because you think but you think it is, but it's just a regular piece of currency.
Yeah, it's not rare. It's not a rare thing. You just never see.
It's not.
Yeah, they print them. They're out there in circulation. It's just nobody ever asks for them, and businesses typically don't have registers to accommodate.
That's true. Bill. Yeah.
So although registers were made for $2 bills, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 is how the slots were originally. We talk about it in the film.
Okay,
that's so cool.
Actually, do we talk about that? I have a YouTube channel with 21,000 subscribers based on the movie, and I have all this additional content that I make beyond the movie and put it up on there. And I got 10 million views. It's amazing. The channel is crazy. But one of the places. The 5 slots were included at 2, but because people don't use them so much, it's really cashier's discretion. You put what bills you want into the slots you want, and most people don't put a 2 in the slot.
No, you're right. But I think about all the jobs I've had that have involved tills, and usually one of those slots is reserved for, say, like checks or high dollar amount currency like hundreds or 50 or whatever receipts, returns, and
then the 2 goes under the register or under the hundreds or something.
Yeah, it does. It's really odd.
What's a great film. What's the funniest encounter you've had trying to use a $2 bill and the kid behind the counter didn't know what to do with it?
Right.
Well, I don't know if I've had anything incredibly funny, but in the movie, and there's a book also. I made a book based on the movie. If you're gonna have 2 books up there, the other one should be my $2 bill book. I never thought to mention that, but a guy got arrested at a Best Buy for using them. He's in the film. I interviewed him.
No way.
And he made the newspapers. He was upset with. He uses 2s in his business, so he has a bunch. And he was supposed to get a car stereo installed. They said it was free, and then they told him it wasn't. So he was angry, and he went there and paid for the installation with $2 bills just to kind of say, screw you. And he had so many of them, and no one's ever seen that many in one place. So the cashier thought they were fake, because who carries $52 bills around? Called the manager out. The manager didn't think they were real. The manager calls the police. The police get up arrested by the Secret Service. They hauled him down to the station. The whole story is in the movie. Yeah, and
really?
I put that clip on YouTube as just a movie clip, like any clip from a movie. I put that clip on YouTube, and the standalone clip that's titled "Man Gets Arrested for Best Buy for spending $2 bills at Best Buy." That's got like 4 million views. It's got more views than any video on my channel.
Wow,
that's people amazing. Love it. I think it goes crazy, that video. But that's probably the funniest story. It's not funny. The guy doesn't think it was very funny, but not much has happened to me that's been humorous. I get looks, and I get some interesting conversations. I did a whole segment where I drove around to fast food restaurants to see what they thought of them, and there were some funny exchanges in there. But it's a great. I mean, I'm probably more proud of the movie than the book, because the movie takes traveling and filming and editing. With the book, you sit and write. But it's one of my greatest creative achievements is that movie. And it's now awesome. That I'm 5 years removed from it, I mean, I look at it objectively and say, God, this is so good. This is so well done. Again, I was in a zone, and it came out wonderfully. So check it out. I mean, I put it up for free on YouTube last year during COVID. So except for the strip club scene, I took that out because $2 bills are popular at strip clubs. So
I didn't know that. I'm proud that I didn't know that.
There's a section in the film at strip clubs where I had to go to one and interview the owner and one of the dancers, and we staged some shots. up in Portland, Oregon. So I had to take that out of the YouTube version because then they wouldn't get the advertising revenue. But it's free on YouTube with ads and no strip club scene, or you can pay, I think, $1.99, $2 on Amazon and watch it on Amazon Prime.
I wish I would have known that 6 years ago when I worked on the Buccaneer Pirate Cruise in Destin, Florida, because my roommate was a former stripper. And so I think if I had paid,
about the $2 bills.
Yeah, well, if I had paid my rent in $2 bills, maybe she would have been nicer to me. You know, probably not. No, she was in her hippie phase.
Could have gone either way on that one.
Yeah.
So, John, what's the name of the YouTube channel?
It's called The $2 Bill Documentary, TWO, The $2 Bill Documentary. But if you search for any video, if you just type $2 and the word bill, if you search $2 bill on YouTube, you're going to get a list of videos, and half of them are going to be mine, and you can get right to the channel from there. And you'll see all the – and I host some of the videos, and I'm in some of the videos and narrate some of the videos. And then there's some clips from the film. It's – I got to keep – it's one of my jobs is to keep flooding that channel with content, and I've been a little bit lax in doing that. So it used to be once every 2 weeks. Now it's like once a month, but I'm trying to keep regular content going. Yeah. So there's always something new I'm posting about the $2 bill up there. And then the film's up there as well.
That's awesome. You said there was a book too that you did.
Yeah, I did a book. What's the name of the book? It's called $2 Bills, America's Forgotten Currency.
Okay.
America's Forgotten
So if you look
Currency.
up just a typo on Amazon and you click on other books by John Bennardo, you'll see it. It's probably right. But probably suggested, buy these two together.
Sure.
So the book is kind of a lot of similar things from the movie are in the book in prose form, and I added some things and some new sections and whatnot. But it's it's like a good coffee table book. You put it on your
really?
color.
Right
it's expensive because I foolishly didn't realize that when you do a book in color, it costs more to print.
Oh yeah.
So like the minimum I could sell it for is like $16.02. So I think I sell it for $16.99, and then I make like 40 cents per sale. But but that book I do sell through the film's website, which is the number $2billmovie.com. $2billmovie.com. You can buy the book cheaper because I get author copies for like $10. So I think I sell it for $13 or $14. But you can't buy just a typo on anywhere but Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Smashwords or those sort of places. But the $2 bill book you get on my website or on Amazon.
Okay.
So
and it's not funny. The $2 bill book is not funny. The $2 bill book. It's
but it's fascinating.
I mean,
it's very
it's got a couple of quirky lines and funny stuff, but it's not a humor book at all.
Yeah.
Well, what's next? What are you working on next?
I do have another book I'm working on, but for the moment, I'm trying to write more short form, like less than 1,000-word pieces, because there's a website called Medium. I don't know if you ever heard of Medium. They have a whole bunch of articles.
Yeah.
Okay, so Medium has a subdivision called Slackjaw, which is comedy and outrageous, silly comedy pieces, high concept. And I'm attracted to it. I like reading that stuff. And for me, it's easy to write a short piece. And plus, it's monetized. There's a paywall on there. So I can write a piece and get it published on the internet and make a few bucks, not much, people reading it. And then hopefully it gets more people to follow my work and maybe go get the book. But it's also, I enjoy, I love writing a book, but it takes like a year and you got to edit it. A short piece, I know I can start today and maybe by the middle of the week, I can have a couple of drafts and it can be funny. So I'm focusing a little more on just short humor right now and just trying to build up a little more of a portfolio online. So I just have one article I got up. I just joined Slackjaw. The first article I submitted, they published. And I'm trying to do more of that. So in addition to running my business and doing everything else I do from a writing and creative perspective, short form humor for the moment and another book in the offing. Yeah.
That's a smart move because it creates a larger digital footprint.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's nice to finish something and not wait a year.
I was going to say, it's more rewarding and it refuels the tank a little bit,
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that more. Now that I got those kids series out of the way and I'm waffling back.
Yeah, he's been floundering a little bit.
Oh, big time. I'm in the middle. I started like 5 or 6 different books. And I can't make up my mind because I finished the series and I just want to get something out there. I don't know. Maybe I should do that. I should do that.
Yeah.
You know what I've done before, which is interesting? I either open the dictionary, but nowadays there's a website called randomwordgenerator.com, literally random word generator. And you can set it to give you 1, 2, 3, 4 words or adjectives or nouns. I'll go in there and I'll just set a couple of parameters and just hit like spinning the wheel. I hit a button and then 3 words come up. And I will say, okay, I got to go write something with those 3 words in it, or that's based on, and it generates creative something. When we were younger, we had to write in school. We always had to write stories. We had to use all the vocabulary words.
Yeah.
You know, I love doing that. And I actually taught high school for a couple of years as an English teacher. And I actually did the same thing. I said, you got to take all the 20 vocabulary words and you got to write them into a story that's cohesive. And you'll learn the meanings of the words. But from a creative perspective, I think it's terrific because it forces you, okay, I need a matchbook, a pencil, and a barbecue. And how do I do that? And then the wheels start turning. And you come up with stuff that you never would have thought of. And then you take it to these places and eventually maybe the matchbook disappears, the pencil disappears, and you just have a movie or a story about a barbecue. And you would never have had that. So it's maybe an exercise you want to try. Find some random words and just force yourself to come up with
I want to try that.
Yeah, we should try that.
That'd be fun.
It'd be good for our one-offs too.
Yeah, it's a good way to stretch.
Or a topic. Yeah, it could be a topic that you talk about on the show. Randomwordgenerator.com. Although there's a million websites that do that. But I actually did a YouTube video where I challenged myself to write a poem based on 3 words that came up on randomwordgenerator.com. And I did. I put it on. I have a YouTube channel for myself, not my $2 bill. And not many people go there. It's just a place where I put like old college videos and stuff. But I did it. I spun the wheel. I got 3 words. I wrote a poem. And then I found stock video to visualize it. And I narrated the poem and used shots. And it's funny. And it was like a terrific little story. I mean, awesome. John Bennardo is the YouTube channel, my name. But
John Bennardo.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's just, it was a fun little exercise.
That sounds like a lot of fun. That's a smart move too, because it forces you to stay fresh.
Yeah,
you know, you never know. It's chaos. It's like you never know if you're gonna get 3 words that you're just like, yeah, I know how to do all this. Or
sometimes I don't like the 3 words, and I'll admit that I say, oh, I'm gonna try another 3 words. You know, like, if the first 3 leave me looking at the screen like this, I'll be like, all right, no, I'll try 3 more because it either hits you or it doesn't. So it's a little bit of cheating. But
whatever. You know, sometimes you got to game the system a little bit in order to make it work for you. So that's all right.
Well, John, this has been really fun, man. We've loved having you on. I know we've tapped into twice as much time of your weekend than we planned.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay. Yeah. No, and I enjoy the conversation. I appreciate you guys doing that. It's nice to chat. It's nice to chat about writing and humor, and these are all my things.
Yeah, awesome. Where can people find you?
I have a website, johnbennardo.com. You got to spell my name the way you see it on the screen there. No spaces, johnbennardo.com. And I don't think I have a link on my website to the Slackjaw page, but I also have a Facebook author page. So if you go to Facebook and search John Bennardo author with the word author at the end of it, facebook.com/John Bennardo author. There's an author page, and I usually post links to my other publications. There's some blogs on my website, you know, some humor blogs that are just my own musings, a couple of blogs up there. But that's where you can find me, Facebook author, or where you posted on the screen there, my website. And, you know, follow me along and there you go. There you
go. I put your Instagram handle up there.
That's Twitter and Instagram. Both of those are the same.
Okay.
John, and then again, Facebook is John Bennardo author with the word author at the end of my name, no spaces. Okay. And that should if you follow me in those platforms, you'll know what I'm up to, and then those platforms will take you to anything new that I've done.
Well, be careful with the tweets. That's what we've learned. Tweet carefully.
Well, you know what? Man, there's another Twitter account, Mo Riverlake, who's the main character of the book. Yeah. He has a Twitter account. It's at Mo Riverlake.
Yes, awesome.
Well, now I
haven't been as consistent tweeting as him lately, because the book is not as fresh. But I got to get back into. But he's got some funny tweets up there. It's funny because I'm funnier as him than I am as me. His tweets are funnier than mine. But he's only got
how that works. You can step into a fictional, like a compartmentalized part of yourself, a creative character, and it's putting on a costume, and you can be more vibrant as this. And it's a nice shield against, slings and arrows.
I don't get it. Yeah, it works for me, though.
Well, John, this has been awesome. We really appreciate you coming on. And then anybody who's interested, Just a Typo by John Bennardo is out on Amazon. And then you have your $2 bill documentary and the book, the corresponding very expensive color, beautiful coffee table book about the.
Well, buy it from my web. Buy it from the $2movie.com and you get it cheaper.
$2movie.com. Man,
$2 bill movie. $2 bill movie.
$2billmovie.com.
Number 2. Yeah. Or just Google. If you Google $2 bill, I mean, I'm like come up the first. I'm like the preeminent thing that comes up when you search that on Google. Because
that's awesome. You got the market cornered on it, John.
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm the resident expert on them.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, we are very honored to have you join us, and we greatly appreciate your time.
You've been gracious.
And please apologize to your dog for us keeping you.
Yeah. I think give her a treat.
She's under the desk. She's under the desk. Oh, yeah. She'll be ready to go as soon as I say DINNER.
Yeah. Malnourished. It's our fault. I'm sorry.
I think the length of this cost her a trip to the DOGPARK because I was going to feed her and maybe run her to the park. But I think it's going to be sorry. So you don't have to apologize. She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forget. She's a dog. Yeah.
Well, man, have a great holiday next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing this. And man, awesome. We'll reconnect with you at some point because we want to catch up with what you're doing. It's so far what I've read is amazing.
Yeah, I would love
to. Let me actually send me an email or something when you finish. I'd love to see what you think.
Yeah, you got it. Awesome. Absolutely, we'll do. All right, John. Thanks, you. Guys. Have a good one.
Take care, John. Bye.
Bye.
Man, how cool is that?
Oh, he's awesome,
dude.
He's great.
This
John Bennardo.
Yeah, this book is it's so awesome to see somebody else who recognizes the absurdity of the world we live in.
Yeah.
And and I bet I remember when I was writing the Heavenly Realms books, I remember in the first 2 or 3 after I had gotten mounds of rejection letters from all these different publishers and agents telling me there's no market for this book, no one wants to read it, which technically they're probably right. But then during that time, I remember seeing all of these angel movies come out and all of these TV shows come out.
Wait a minute.
And the market
People's buying this stuff.
Yeah, Supernatural came out, you know, and then Legion and Lucifer and so all these different, it's I watched the market explode in front of. I wonder if there was a part for John when he's writing, just a typo, watching all of this happen. He talked about it, how
I can't get it fast. He's trying to get it out.
It's happening right now.
And there's a part of me that's it's okay. It's going to stick around.
Yeah,
it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, cancel culture is not going anywhere anytime soon. So, everyone, we hope you guys enjoyed our interview. We really, really enjoyed it. That was really cool. Great, big thanks to John Bennardo. He's really awesome.
Great guy.
And man, I can't wait to watch that $2 bill documentary and get that book.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really interested. I mean, obviously, there's the saying about $2 bills.
Yeah.
That I won't say.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to, get canceled.
You don't want to get canceled. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I do want to watch the documentary. And what's that?
I said there's an irony there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it ties into just a typo.
Mm-hmm.
Enough said. You got to read the book. But I do want to watch the documentary. I'm interested to see, what else he does.
Yeah.
What the next book will be like.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And, for people, for you guys watching, I hope you enjoyed the interview. We're actually going to have more people. We're thinking right now, maybe a guest a month.
Yeah.
A guest a month or more.
Yeah.
But, we're trying to commit to at least a guest a month for the next few months. So we have something lined up for next month and also in August.
Yeah.
And you guys are really you're going to like it. And just to make sure you don't miss it, you got to subscribe to the Heavenly Realms YouTube channel.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Or join the Facebook group at the Gosslings. There's a page and a group. I would say like the page first. And then I occasionally go in there and cherry pick the people I want to invite to the actual group.
Right. Yeah.
I like to do some cherry picking. The group is free to join, but the inner circle is I want to invite.
The 33rd degree Masons of the Gosslings.
I've seen some names in there, and I'm like, I'm really glad you follow the page.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to get canceled.
Yeah, the group.
Yeah. You gotta be careful with who you let behind the curtain.
Absolutely. And at some point, we might have to make the group a little more private.
Maybe. Yeah.
But not yet. I'm dreaming right now.
Yeah. We dream of hoity-toity.
Yeah, I'm very hoity-toity.
So now it's time for typewriter one-offs.
Yeah, let's do typewriter one-offs.
There we go. Every week we type up a one-pager, or in my case, a 1.25 pager.
Yeah.
And then we do
1.25 pages.
Yeah. Well, so mine literally, my typewriter literally died in the middle of trying to type this out. You can see where the typeface changes. It did. It literally died right there. The carrier or the carriage
You got
died.
some wide margins on yours too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got
That's
a lot
awesome.
of room to bloviate, obviously. So,
That's a good word.
To coin a
Great word, yeah.
Bill O'Reilly term. So I had to come over a little early and actually use Nick's Corona.
Yeah, I got a new Smith.
Corona?
I got a new Smith Corona.
Yeah, it's pretty
Right
nice.
there, as you can see, the Smith Corona.
So that was the one that saved my abyssal,
I want to
typewriter
show it
one-off.
off, but I'll do that next episode.
Abysmal, abyssal, it depends,
Isn't abyssal a vacuum?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Abyssal, yeah, whatever. Abyssal was a word I learned. Abyssal. It means hellish, like from the abyss.
Yeah,
like from the great abyss.
What's the abyss? What's the abyss?
In biblical, the
Oh.
biblical abyss.
Bend over and show you.
Yeah. I missed it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
should have tagged
That's all
up
right,
on
that's
that.
all right.
Okay, so
Let's do it.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Let's see who goes first.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh man, see,
All right.
the pattern wins again. All right, here we go. The angels must sing an addictive song, Martin said, standing next to the hood of the silver Ford F-250 King Ranch, considering how often you hoist yourself up on that cross of yours. Diego cocked his head and looked at Martin askance. What do you mean? Martin smirked. What do you mean, what do I mean? He spat a wad of King Bee plug tobacco into the Tennessee clay at their feet. You've been on watch for 4 hours. It's my rotation, and you're trying to detail me off on some easy assignment while you skyline on a ridge for another 4 hours, making yourself quite the noble target and certainly high enough for the bosses to take notice. Martin had grown to despise Diego, ever since they were paired up by the special agent in charge. He missed his old partner, who had taken a bullet fragment to the spinal column less than a year ago on a skip tracing retrieval in the mountains. The injury had cost Tasker his career. Martin thought about hanging it up, but he knew better. He knew what he was. There was no getting around that. Diego was not from the Tennessee branch. He was fresh off the boat from the Colorado office. A freelancer, as their boss had put it. More like a freeloader, Martin thought, as the two stood overlooking the valley. Martin had watched Diego try to manipulate the suits in the home office in Nashville by talking himself up and recounting his heroics. Martin couldn't help but smile as he watched the tension headaches build on his boss's faces as they endured Diego's boasting. Diego was a small man, inside and out, radically insecure, and was desperately trying to make a name for himself as he scrambled like a midget amputee up the corporate ladder. He was easy to read, as if they didn't already know. The great thing about the South is that the strong, silent types always won out. The bosses had your resume. They could, in fact, read. They didn't require any help, despite the arrogant, ignorant condescension of this particular non-Southerner. But what Martin couldn't understand was what he did wrong to deserve being saddled with Diego. Real men did not rely on smoke and mirrors and manipulation to get ahead. They earned it with the sweat of their brow. Real men did not vie for positions of power by showcasing themselves in front of the boss or bragging about their exploits. Southerners understood this. Many Yankees who immigrated did not. As Martin looked across the Tennessee Valley, he thought about how much had changed over the past 20 years. Yankees never seem to quite get the message, but parasites never do. They only do what they know: siphon, bleed, breed, and move. At the end of the day, Martin was a lancer. His boss's right-hand man, his loyalty was absolute, so he never questioned why he bore Diego on his back. But he tried to stay humble, realizing that there could be a lesson to be learned here. After all, leadership was not given, it was earned. And Diego, with all his Colorado ego and Catholic self-loathing, would be easy to control. In fact, Martin wouldn't have to do a thing. As long as Diego didn't compromise the mission, he could spread his peacock feathers all day and it would only exhaust him, like a toddler tuckered out from running and spinning in circles. Martin only hoped he had a front row seat to the temper tantrum that would follow, when a cranky Diego, an overeducated, weak excuse for a man with low character who operated from fear and greed and guilt, did not get what he thought he deserved, and was summarily shipped back to whatever godless hippie hellhole he crawled out of. It would be hilarious.
That's great. So where did that come from? What inspired that?
I think just like
That's awesome.
being a native Nashvilleian, being a native Tennessean,
yep.
being Southern, and just thinking about like all the jobs I've had where non-Southerners come in and they just think that they should be here and they want to change it. And I just, as a native Tennessean, you just, just like, dude, we don't like, we're good.
Yeah. You know, I think in the spirit of cancel culture, we should cancel people moving here.
Dude, I've said it for years, man. I was like, man, anybody not native, just give us 10 years.
Yeah.
Can we just have a 10-year break?
Just some breathing room.
Yeah, just a little bit. And here's the thing. There are plenty of people who do come here who are like, okay, no one's moving to Detroit, right?
Yeah, no one.
No one's moving to, like, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
No
one's moving to Maryland.
No, right. No one's moving to, like, unless you're trying to pursue a career in Hollywood or Silicon Valley, no one's moving to California.
Yep.
Unless you're trying to pursue a career in, like, journalism or fashion, no one's moving to New York.
And people might say, unless you're pursuing a career in music, no one's moving to Tennessee. Wrong.
Dude, wrong. Everybody's moving here.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for probably 20 years. And there's nothing wrong with obviously we all have tons of friends who are non-native.
Yeah.
Non-Southern, non-whatever. And it's fine as long as you understand that you're a refugee, not a carpetbagger, and you assimilate.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's a reason they're moving from their state.
Right.
And there's a reason they're moving to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Last Sunday.
And we were fine without them.
Yeah, we were. And they wanted to be here and be fine with us.
Right.
And we last Sunday, we were, walking little downtown square in Columbia, cute little downtown area.
Yeah.
And we struck up a conversation with this elderly couple.
Oh, yeah?
And the elderly man didn't say a whole lot at first. He was a veteran. He had a hat on and everything. And nice man.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, we just, my wife and I, we just moved here. We bought some acres outside of town. And but we just moved here from California.
Yeah.
And before I could say anything, he preempted me. And he said, but don't worry, we didn't bring our politics with us.
Yeah, good.
Like he'd had that conversation already a dozen times.
1,000
and needed
times.
to make sure
that
we didn't need to have that conversation. And I shook his hand and I said, God bless you.
God
you
bless
are
you,
welcome here.
Thank you for
I
your
am
service.
so glad
and
you're
welcome
here.
to Tennessee.
I did think of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that is the thing.
Good
like,
guy.
I think about that. Like, I got some really good friends from Rochester, New York, right? The Treadproof guys.
Yeah,
We've been trying to coordinate a shoot for like a week now. Love those guys to death, and they are like to Treadproof Training Academy.
Oh yeah, Treadproof. They're fantastic.
We don't deserve them, but we much like Adam and
Big
Dave,
T and the guys.
Them,
Yep.
Yeah, Big T and Todd and Brett. Super based, great guys.
Yep.
Excellent classes. A real asset to the community, but they're coming down from their just dumpster fire of a state, and coming here to flourish in our culture. And I think about that sometimes, like if the shoe were on the other foot, if Tennessee became insolvent, or if America became insolvent,
not beyond the realm of possibility.
Not beyond the realm of possibility. Dude, I'm reading a book right now recommended by Delta called Patriots that is about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really good.
Interesting.
But anyway, so like if I chose not to stand and die, and I ended up, having to immigrate to another place, right? Say you have kids, and you realize that you're better serving your children by being alive than you are by being dead, whatever. There's a ton of logical reasons for that. Let's say you go to China, am I going to go to, or like anywhere, or Russia? Let's say I go to Russia. Am I going to go to Russia and demand that they speak English and demand that they operate by the Constitution, or whatever the politics was at the time of my, it's like, no, man, you assimilate, you learn Russian,
right,
and you learn Russian, probably Russian Orthodox.
Yep. There's no Second Amendment in other countries. Yeah. You don't have the same rights. Right. You got to be able to assimilate to that if you want to move there.
But I encountered that a lot with, especially there was a while there right after Dad died when I was working in the gun shop, and I had some friends from Colorado who were good people. But they were in the music business, and they were a band, and so I got to meet a lot of their friends who had also moved here from like Canada, California, whatever. And all of these people were like, "Oh, it's great here, but I just wish they were more like progressive." And it's like, why don't you go back?
Yeah, go back. Don't
go back.
There's a reason you moved.
Yeah, you're cancer.
Yeah,
you're. So, there we go. Yeah.
Why can't people connect the dots?
Yeah, ego, pride.
Gosh,
insecurity,
and political correctness.
And that's true. That's also it is a survival thing. It is not, especially in an artistic community like the music business.
Yeah.
It's not it's not expedient to your career to be anything other than whatever the weathercock is blowing.
Yeah.
At that time, whatever direction. The weather.
Well, it's been blowing woke for a while.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
So,
unfortunately,
But
all right. Well, I'll do mine. I'll do my one off. I actually did.
I'm pretty proud of Nick's. Like mine is always like kind of a borderline torch and burn op on the whole operation.
Well, I don't know.
But Nick's is actually productive and focused.
I did two. I'll let you choose.
Do the commercial. I want to hear.
I wrote a Gosslings commercial. I'll be happy to read you. And I wrote one about cancel culture.
Oh, do them both.
Oh, well, I'll start with the commercial.
Okay. You should do the other one in honor of John Bennardo.
Absolutely, I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I will. All right.
Our esteemed guest.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay. Your local writers group is crap. Stop burning off your free time in the presence of introverted do-nothings, cowering in the free conference room at your local library. It's time to drop trow and show the full moon of success. The Gosslings Writers Group. We're a digital gang of self-published writers. Writers who actually write stuff, use typewriters, who actually publish books when they write them, and who write all the people who've ever offended them into their stories, then murder the stink out of them.
So true.
Writers who wear ascots and tweeds, who smoke pipes and drink bourbon, who don't believe in dust jackets, who name their pit bulls Hemingway. Writers who lube their typewriters with gun oil, because they're straight shooters.
He's a good shot, by the way. Just saying. Yeah.
The Gosslings live stream will talk about issues most writers are afraid to discuss. How to fight back against cancel culture.
Yeah.
How Stephen King and J.K. Rowling are no talent hacks. and how storytelling at its cultural climax in the 90s.
Yeah.
The Gosslings Writers Group live stream will take your delusions of traditional publishing out behind the woodshed. And we all know what happens there. So say goodbye to those life-sucking wannabes that never published anything beyond a woke tweet. Join a community of self-publishing paladins that will actually lend each other a helping hand. Watch the live stream, join the group, and start calling yourself a Gosling.
Yeah.
We don't always act pretentious, but when we do, we wear ascots, by God.
Glorious.
It needs a little tweak.
Beautiful. You have got to turn that into an actual commercial.
I think I will.
Yeah.
I'll put really the ascot on and a tweed jacket and a pipe and and do it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now I want to move to Florida, get a pit bull and name him Hemingway.
Absolutely you should.
Now, that's
absolutely you should.
Cameron, you can keep Lily. Yeah.
And here's my very brief double-spaced cancel culture commentary.
In honor of John Bennardo?
In honor of John Bennardo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is cancel culture not simply rejection? Is it not just the society saying no thank you to an idea they feel is dangerous or destructive? No, it's way beyond that. Rejection is me getting offended that Netflix bathes its programming in nudity, so I cancel my subscription, reject it.
Yeah.
Whereas cancel culture gets offended that a Netflix executive used the wrong pronoun and tries to shut the whole company down. Cancel culture says, I know what's best for you, even though we disagree, so I'm going to make sure no one else can hear it.
Yeah.
It's the same difference between jealousy and envy. Jealousy says, I deserve to have the same things that you have. Yeah. Where's mine? It asks.
Yeah.
Envy says, I want your thing.
Yep.
And asks no questions.
Yep.
Rejection says, I don't like your country's way of life, so I'll never move there.
Yep.
Cancel culture says, I don't like your country's way of life, so I'm going to fly a couple of planes into skyscrapers, then rebuild it in my image.
Yeah. Yep.
Rejection complains to the manager and tries to get its money back. Cancel culture burns down the restaurant, along with the manager's prospects for future employment.
Yep.
Rejection is a consequence.
Yeah.
You say or do something in my home that I don't like, I kick you out. That's how the world worked until recently. We had a consequence culture. We had that. But cancel culture tries to kick you out of your own house.
Yep.
In consequence culture, we reject the unwanted pregnancy and abort our own baby.
Yeah.
But we are barreling towards a society that will demand that you abort yours.
Yeah.
And it really is that simple.
It is. That's awesome. Yeah. That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. What prompted you to be able to make that distinction?
The book.
Yeah. I was just about to be
posting
cheesy
the event.
Like, just a Typo by John Bennardo. Available on.
Oh man, first of all, I gotta put this out. Adam posted Gosslings Forever.
Yeah.
Man.
Saw that. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you.
The will of the emperor.
You know, when I posted the event on our Facebook page about John Bennardo and fighting cancel culture and his book, The Trolls came out.
Yes,
one of them posted that
me,
LeVar Burton quote about, cancel culture is just consequence culture. And I was like, no, these are two different things.
Yeah.
Two different things. And then another guy asked, when you have the live stream, please talk about the difference between cancel and rejection.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's a good point. Let's talk about
that is a good nuance. And I saw a video. I had totally forgotten about this, but I saw a video on the wedding cake guys.
Yeah.
Wedding cake couple. And
kind of like the first. That was the first. That's where it started.
That was like the Fort Sumter of
that's right.
Of the culture,
right. Yes.
The cancel culture wars.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're right. It's one thing to reject them is to just say, well, you know what? I don't agree or appreciate the position that they've taken. I think it's bigoted, homophobic, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to spend my money there.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's another thing to say, I'm going to put them out of business.
Yeah. I'm going to shut them down.
Yeah, that's war.
Yeah.
It's
aggressive.
It is. It's overly aggressive. What people don't understand, because the internet has made everybody just a bunch of declawed, defanged house cats, is that like the world can have real consequences if you do that. If you get somebody fired, you better look over your shoulder the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And your life may not be as long as
because you're not always going to be able to hide in a mob.
Right. Or behind a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, truth be told, that's
what I mean, like a digital mob.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can be found. Like, you can.
Not that I'm going to find you, but I'm saying, but what it's saying is you put yourself at risk when you go too far.
You do. If you ruin somebody's life, if you get somebody's business shut down, if you get somebody fired, like,
Because there's some crazy people out there.
Yeah, like here's the thing, man. Those people have nothing to lose at that point.
Yep.
So was it worth it? Because it might be worth it to them.
Yeah. Don't create a Michael Douglas falling down moment.
Right. Don't create. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't create that guy. We don't need that guy.
Yeah. I mean, well,
his whole because it's funny because when you watch that movie,
yeah,
and you talk about cancel culture, his life he was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
He lost his job. His wife was rejecting him.
Yep.
The fast food restaurant was rejecting him. The guys mugging him on the street were rejecting him. He was rejected every step of the way, and he just broke ties with the realities. Nothing left to lose. So he starts, you've seen the movie, he starts killing people.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, you can't, like, that's the thing about our society is we're so first world. We're so pampered. We're so spoiled. It's too easy. And people like John Bernardo was saying, it's people like, it's almost like people don't have anything left to fight against. So they don't have any reason for meaning and purpose. Like what Jordan Peterson talks about, how like purpose is derived from, or your self-worth is derived from your purpose, your purpose-driven life, to quote the book. Who wrote that? The Purpose-Driven Life. It was
Rick Warren.
Rick Warren.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to say Wayne, but I was thinking of Gary Wayne. So, can't get away from our roots.
Different book, still phenomenal.
Yeah. But like there's a real lacking of struggle. Mm-hmm. And so because there's a lacking of struggle, Delta and I were talking about it not too long ago about how, you almost can't have the Garden of Eden forever.
Right.
Because eventually someone will smash it.
Yeah.
Someone will, because humans have to have something to struggle against.
Every person, especially men, every man needs a battle to fight.
We do. We need.
And if you've won all the battles, or they've all been won for you,
they've all been won for you. In the case of the cancel culture crowd, then there's nothing.
You still have to stand for something. You still have to find an enemy.
So you're starving for an enemy.
Yeah, because you need to look better.
Yeah.
You need to look more moral than someone else. Right.
It is such a victim. There's a victimology there, but there's an ego there too, a real insecurity complex where people find their validation in just tearing something down, and it gives them purpose. They can become crusaders now, but it's like, for what? What are you protecting? Because if you talk to a lot of the people that you actually are defending, like a lot of those people are like, well, we don't really care.
Yeah.
And not only do we not care, but we also don't agree with you on anything else that you're talking about.
I can defend myself.
Yeah. Also, how
I have my own ideas. Yeah. Oh, right. Absolutely.
Because like anybody can be on Twitter. It's a godless pride sort of thing that it's so Luciferian and it's so pathological, and it shows you how small people can really be. But man, we're so pampered. We're so soft. We're so spoiled. Like, dude, when I tell a couple people on this channel that like the door's unlocked, like I'm not kidding you. The door's unlocked. And I'm not hard to find. The door's unlocked. But for most people, they'll try to get you fired and they don't know what to do if that person finds them.
Yeah.
Like really finds them.
Yeah.
And dude,
it's scary. It's a scary thought.
It should be.
Yeah.
Like if you,
it tames the tongue.
What's that old Jimmy Stewart movie, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? And he, he's kind of a suburban rube, and he gets snookered into representing people in Washington. He gets slandered at one point. And this is like, my grandfather actually did this, by the way. This is reality. And he went to every reporter in the movie. He goes to this is like a 1950s movie, early 50s, late 40s, whatever. He goes to every reporter who slandered him, and he punches him in the mouth.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
It seems absurd nowadays in our first world litigious society.
Yeah.
But back then, you could kind of get away with it. And you actually could get away with it. My grandfather did it.
Yeah.
He punched a lawyer out in the middle of downtown Nashville in like when was mom born?
60 something.
Yeah, it's like the mid 60s, something like that. Mom was in elementary school at the time. There's a newspaper clipping about it. I gotta find it. It's so funny. But nowadays, people are so insulated, so protected, and there are lawyers waiting to defend them for their victimology.
Yeah.
That like they can say anything they want and they can get a business shut down for it. But like, dude, I hope the juice is worth the squeeze, because if it's not for someone's like Christian pacifism, you might be in a serious world of hurt. And I hope it was worth the little moment of dopamine validation that you get.
Yep.
You know? So, anyways,
yeah,
I'll stop there. D really enjoyed your commercial.
Thank
there.
you, D.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, it needs some refinement, but yeah, I had fun writing it.
Yeah, well, that is part of the fun of the typewriter one-off is that like it's raw.
Yeah,
we don't do second drafts. We don't. I think there was one that I did that took me. I did 3 different versions of it because it just wasn't coming out right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but every other one that I've ever done, there's never been a mulligan on any of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the point, you know, is to do something kind of raw. So
yeah,
it's a good exercise. I really like what John was mentioning about like the 3-word thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a prompt to get you thinking.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know,
or even just give me the first half a sentence.
Yeah.
You know, as a prompt, and I can just go.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how this started.
The hardest thing is just starting.
Yeah. Well, that's like this really came from just like the idea of like commenting on somebody hoisting themselves up on a cross. You know, just like, oh, you're going to be the martyr again. So we can all think you're awesome again. You know, and it's like the pathological, you know, the one-off I did last week about the paladin, Aradiel.
Yeah.
You know, doing the humble thing of
stripping the bark.
And, you know, well, that's like the good version. And then this is like the pathological version of that same, you know, sort of thing. So anyways.
I love it. It was great. It was well done. Well, you want to go week in review? What have you been working on?
Sasquatchalypse. You probably haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I got like 110, 111 pages in Sasquatchalypse. I got to the first big like action scene where they have to like take down a Sasquatch, and it was
oh man, nice.
It was fun.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, it was in a barn. And it's just guns blazing, brass flying, you know, Sasquatch, you know, grabs a guy and picks him up, and they're trying to shoot his arms off, and one guy dives underneath, and just, you know, it's awesome.
When you get the book published,
and then
you got to send a copy to the Blurry Creatures guys.
Oh, I do. Yeah, the Blurry Creatures guys are great.
Yeah.
Do they
have? You can get an interview. Maybe you get an interview.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Neat. Yeah, I got to write the book first.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, you're into it.
Yeah, we're getting there.
That's cool.
You know, it's only been like 6 years in the making.
So you say you're about halfway through?
Oh no. I'm probably at best a quarter of the way through.
Okay.
It'll probably be a 400-page book. Okay. It's all said and done. Okay. Because the first act is a little over 100 pages, and it's a very isolated thing in a southeastern Kentucky town, you know. And then you have to, because it's called Roman Coke and the Sasquatchalypse, it's a Sasquatch apocalypse, so you have to like show the whole mushroom effect, and so it gets much bigger after that. But it starts out in this very small sort of like how a zombie movie always starts out with like, wow, that's another ambulance that went past. Or like, oh yeah, my husband came home with a weird bite on his neck, you know, and you're treating him for like the first 20 minutes, you know, and then that's your first act. Yeah. And then you step outside and it's just chaos. Houses are on fire and zombies are running around, you know. And so anyways, what about you?
Cool. You know, wrote a couple more chapters of Easel Bancroft.
Cool.
And then you know, I've been working on the promotion stuff.
Nice.
You know, trying to get everything ready for our wonderful guest who joined us today.
Yeah.
And
Nick did a lot of work. I did absolutely nothing. I was so absentee landlord.
Well, I offered to do it. You know, we talked about getting guests. I'm like, you know what, I can find some people. Yeah. You know, and you know, got another guy lined up for August.
We do. Yeah. Nick.
Just some admin stuff, you know.
Yeah. Nick is killing it.
Yeah. I got a new typewriter.
Oh yeah.
As you can see.
Yeah.
Behind me here.
Which totally came in handy today.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna get my awful ideas out on paper.
And when I got it, half the keys didn't work.
Oh yeah.
Half the keys wouldn't even
type. I felt bad. I knocked off the L key. Ironic. Considering how apropos.
Oh, yes.
Lord works in mysterious ways.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was the L key that got knocked off when I was trying to. So like my typewriter broke. And I came over here a little bit early to use his Smith Corona, which I didn't know was new. And
I just picked it up.
And you told me that you had swapped the keys from another one on.
Yeah, the key tops. Yeah, they used to be like dark green like our other ones. But I had this old Corona Galaxy that was totally rusted shut. It just,
that's right. I
this junky old thing. But
he tried to save that one too.
I tried. It was unsavable.
Yeah.
It could not be repaired. So I pulled all the keys off and saved them, and then I got this. I'm like, it's a Smith Corona, and all the keys fit. And I like the white keys. It looks really cool. Also, I took the little arm off the old Galaxy and put it on that one. Yeah.
Oh,
so I like replaced some parts, and there was another little, like when you push the arm over, it's supposed the plant is supposed to, it's supposed to go up 1 or 2 spaces.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay.
So I took there was a piece missing that connects the arm to the plant, and that piece had a little knob broken off. So I took it out, and I took it off of the old Galaxy that still had that piece, and it was, whole. Yeah. And so I replaced that part and got it working.
That's awesome.
So I was like, doing a bunch of that stuff this week. It was fun. I felt, like I.
Nick might fill a really good gap as
I might have to
typewriter repairman.
Dude, if Kirk doesn't get his act together, I might have to start helping people repair their typewriters.
Kirk, maybe you should spend less time rubbing elbows with Tom Hanks and drinking adrenochrome and building out your little workspace and more time fixing typewriters, because I think Nick might be on your heels, homeboy.
I don't know. Maybe got a little, working with my hands a little bit. I can do a little something.
Yeah.
So, but that was playing with this new typewriter, working on Easel Bancroft and doing the promotion stuff.
That's awesome
for the channel.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Good.
Yeah.
It's funny how much you've gravitated towards the Easel Bancroft book. As opposed, because Nick really has probably 5 irons in the fire creatively. Which is pretty common as a novelist, as a writer, and they're all good, and they're all equally worthy of being priority. But as a writer, you really do tend to gravitate towards one thing or another for whatever reason. I don't know. The muse is a dodgy dame. She is a fickle little harlot, and I can't explain it either. But I'm grateful to see, that you've kind of gravitated towards one, as opposed to continuing to sort of feel your way around in the dark.
I read the couple of chapters that I wrote earlier this week. I read them to my son, Christian.
Oh, yeah?
Just earlier today. And when I was done, I'm like, so what do you think? What do you think of the chapter? He said, no, it's really good, Dad. You need more insults. Because Easel is so pretentious. He just insults everybody. He's got all these snarky little nicknames for people. He's like, oh, it's good, Dad, but you need more insults. He said, trust me, Dad.
Yeah, he's right.
8 to 12-year-old boys need more insults.
Yeah. What's so funny about that, too, is it's a real peek into Nick is very affable. Nick is very much,
I know what that word means.
Right,
I appreciate it. It's a compliment.
Write this down. No, Nick gets along. Nick has this great ability to get along with pretty much anybody. He's a very good diplomat. He's a great negotiator, and he's generally always upbeat, which is why this works so great, because I'm just a little troll sitting on a rock somewhere.
Not true.
But
Not
Nick,
true.
Nick knows how to, so Nick has always got this kind of sunny disposition, but underneath, you get subcutaneous.
Well, yeah, you got to tap into the dark side.
Yeah, the shadow lurks. Yeah. His shadow.
It's the funniest version of my worst self. and that's Easel Bancroft.
But you can see glimmers of Easel Bancroft in Henry Half Moon.
True.
Because that was the first thing that I noticed about Henry Half Moon. Henry Half Moon, is it just called Henry Half Moon?
Yeah, Henry Half Moon.
Yeah, so we always talk about Nick's Travelers League books, but he has a young adult sort of supernatural urban fantasy or urban horror kind of fiction called Henry Half Moon on Amazon also. It's a cool book. You guys should read it.
I had more fun writing that than I did. And I loved writing
Travelers
League, but I loved writing Henry Half Moon.
And the
paranormal, there's Nephilim, there's spirits, the Anakim.
The occult.
All occult stuff. And Henry Half Moon is like this college student that doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, but the thing that I noticed in the first, and I was very honored to be there throughout the journey of that book. This is before we did the live streams, but I noticed first and foremost what a snarky, condescending, just almost borderline insufferable. It actually made me very self-conscious about that. Maybe take a long look in the mirror, But Henry Half Moon really is a precursor. You tapped into that. You tapped into it with Henry Half Moon, this sardonic, hypercritical, cynical, kind of, just twerp almost.
Yeah,
right?
He is for sure. And so is Easel Bancroft.
And then you dove into that vein with Easel Bancroft.
It's
been really
Easel
funny.
Bancroft, homeschool kid.
Yeah.
Homeschools all his life. He's just been told how awesome and smart
special he is.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he gets to 6th grade and boom, he's got to go to public school for a year.
Yeah.
And you take that kid who's been living in that self-aggrandizing bubble.
Yeah. Yep.
And you pop it for a year.
Just reach right up and
now he's got to survive.
Yeah.
And all he has to survive is his smart mouth. That's all he's got. And there's a murder mystery. He's got to figure out, how am I supposed to make any? He has 0 friends. He gets bullied. He's got to make friends somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
That's funny.
There's a baseball signed by Babe Ruth that goes missing.
Oh, okay.
Let's tie some of that in.
Tied into the murder.
There's some baseball stuff in it. It's fun. Yeah. It's really fun to write because I'm writing like the me without my brakes on as a kid.
Yeah. Dude, I had that same experience going into 8th grade.
Only with an adult's mouth.
Right. Yeah, well.
Or an adult's command of words.
Yeah, an adult's vocabulary and command of.
Which is a nice contrast to all the meatheads
he
has to deal with in public school.
Dude, I was hanging out with, I have one friend from high school who I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with him I came over to his house a few days ago and we were joking about how like our school was so small that like if you were a new student, the coach who commanded like pretty much all the teams, the baseball team and the football team and the basketball team, like he was always trying to get you to join the team. And he never said word one to me. And I was chubbier then than I am now. And like I had braces and glasses and I was really nerdy. And
we weren't athletes growing up.
No, we weren't. And
we were ninjas.
Yeah, that's right.
That tells you anything.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, do I get like throwing stars if I'm the halfback? So, but I was joking with him about that. I was like, yeah, Coach Covington like never reached out to me to join the team because my friend who I was talking to, he was on the soccer team, he was on the football team. I think he may have been even on the baseball team. Like, I mean, it's just. If you did one, you pretty much did them all. That's how small the school was.
Yeah.
Athletes were just like athletes. And so he was like, yeah, well, you were always kind of intimidating. I'm like, Chris, what are you talking about intimidating? I've been like 5'7.5" since I was like 16, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're just like really smart. And I was like, know-it-all. I was a know-it-all.
Yeah.
Insufferable know-it-all.
Yeah, I look back to when I was in middle school. And especially up through 9th grade. I thought I knew everything. I thought I was better than everyone.
Right.
And I made a lot of enemies.
Yep.
I got bullied. I got what was coming to me because I shot my mouth off. That's Easel.
Yeah.
That's Easel Bancroft.
Yeah.
He gets what's coming to him.
Yeah.
But he comes out on top.
I'll tell you what saved me, honestly, was I made friends with Will Piercy in the 8th grade. And that really, like, I didn't have any other friends.
Yeah.
But, and I don't even really know, Will has always been such an outsider. He really, he almost kind of took me under his wing, and Will was respected, And honestly, if it hadn't have been for Will, my smart mouth probably would have, gotten me. I did have a knife pulled on me once.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was an X-Acto knife, but guess what? That'll still cut you.
Oh, dude.
So
some damage. You can go deep.
Welcome to Antioch.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So man, I get it. I'm happy to see you writing the book.
Yeah, it's fun.
Cool,
It's fun.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, you want to wrap it up? We're pushing 2 hours now.
Yeah, I know. This is great. This has been so fun.
Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I hope you guys got a lot out of that with John Bennardo, and
it was very kind
you get
of
his book. I wasn't just talking to please the guest.
His book really is
laughed
funny.
out loud several times reading this book.
Well, you heard
it's
me
really
when we were sitting here 5 minutes before John came on, because we linked up with John before the live stream just to kind of, very standard preliminary kind of thing. And so I just had the book and I just, nervous energy. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. So I was just reading the paragraph on page 6 and I just started laughing. It's funny, man. It's a good, but I'm really looking forward to reading that.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. So just a typo. by John Bennardo. Oh, let me get my fingers out of the way. So johnbennardo.com. He's got the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we should put his links too in the.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
so
when I YouTube usually has a delay on how soon I can add edits and stuff. But tonight, probably by tonight, whenever I get home from dinner, I should be able to.
And I can put it in the Facebook group.
Stuff.
Of course, I'm going to put it in the Facebook group. The link to his Amazon page, and all his website and all that stuff. I'll put it in there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This book, I mean, literally, I've read like one paragraph and it was funny. And what Nick was telling me outside before we got started was hilarious. Yeah. So it's awesome. You should definitely check it out. It's available on Amazon in paperback or ebook. Go to John Bennardo's website, johnbennardo.com, and you can order the $2 bill book. Go to his YouTube channel, the $2 bill documentary, and watch that.
Yep.
That seems fascinating.
Yep.
You know?
Adam says 2 hours of pure ambrosia. Glad you liked it, man.
The Emperor approves.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And Delta. Wait, I missed the middle night.
That's fine.
That's all right. You have to do
fine.
the replay.
We'll start over with that bottle of Legend. How about that?
Yeah. Well, if you make it through your other stuff, bring that next week.
Yeah, I think I will. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's
decant it for a few minutes or a little while, and then we can do that.
Yeah, because I know this won't last.
Scotch turns me into a demon, though, so might not want.
I think
don't give me a full pour.
I think it's bourbon. I don't think it's Scotch. Delta.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Delta's. Okay. He's a true Southerner. He deals more in bourbon, much like Jason. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm the Scotch. Adam and I are the Scotch weirdos.
Ah, okay.
He'll drink anything, but
that's true. That checks out.
Anyways, you want to go ahead and wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
It does, yeah, Delta. You're right. It does look like seriously great bird, and I really appreciate it. By the way, thank you. But you know that. Shut up. Whatever. So,
guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
D, Adam, Delta, Nina, Sky, everyone who watched.
Thank you, Nina.
Thank you to John Bennardo for joining us, and anyone else. I know there's some lurkers in there.
Yeah, John, you're probably watching.
Comment. Yeah, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And for those of you who didn't, the replay is going to be awesome. I'm going to watch it like multiple times this week. I'm excited.
Also, do we have our Teespring page up? Can you get t-shirts?
Yeah, you can get these t-shirts actually. Yeah, we have them up if you want one. You can't hack a typewriter. This one over here, this is like one of my favorites. You can get them in multiple colors. This is my favorite that he's wearing. Every time a bell rings, a devil's laptop dies. Ding! That's just to show you how morally superior typewriters are to the writing and
spiritually superior.
Yeah, I think so.
Very logos driven, the mechanism of the gods, the machine of the god, the machine of the Lord.
Oh man, and by the way, the August guest, that's going to be oriented towards people who like typewriters.
Oh yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And let's see, Pressfield gets back from vacation on the 3rd, so I'm going to
July guy.
Yeah, so I'm going to reach out to Mr. Pressfield probably that weekend, the weekend of the 4th, probably the next week, get it set up so that you're incommunicado the weekend of the 3rd and the 17th.
Right? Actually it's changed a little bit. We'll talk about it after, but we'll get it in there. We'll get it on one of our. We're gonna do a recorded interview with him, and then we will air that interview on our live stream.
We're gonna have to do that on a Saturday, and then we'll air it on Sunday.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah. So it's gonna be a cool couple months, man.
Yes,
We're really looking forward to it. And then if you want anybody to be your narrator, reach out to Adam Burrell. He's our narrator, and for your books, he's amazing. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll post the links down below as well, so you can listen to him. He sounds like Alan Rickman, but even manlier. He's like Space Marine Alan Rickman.
He's like he's like a manly, humble Alan Rickman.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Who actually has diversity in the different accents he can do.
Dude, Adam's accents are awesome.
Yeah.
It is. Adam's accents are so good. It actually informed my writing on the back end with some of the Angel novels. Yeah. So he's fantastic.
He had that effect on me too in one of the Travelers League books, the last one.
Dude, he's killer.
I wrote the characters with Adam's voice.
With Adam's voice in your head,
with his different voices in my head, multiple voices. Yeah, I did for sure.
Get out of our heads,
That's
Adam.
so good.
Get out of my brain. And then his wife Dee makes resin products. She made the coaster. We had the coaster.
Where'd they go? I had them up here.
I know we did. We had them up here. Wow, Dee, we're really dropping the ball.
Are they back here? Oh, here they are.
There we go.
Here we go.
So Dee made us these awesome coasters for the Gosslings, and there we go. It's all reversed. Okay, there we go. Almost. So these are super cool. And they got backs to them. So she also did bookmarks. She made bookmarks for all the Heavenly Realms novels that are currently out, and she does a bunch of other stuff. She did a really great tea tray, So anything that you guys like,
bookmarks are phenomenal.
Yeah, they really are.
Actually,
awesome.
What's really cool is that little novelty box.
With the cogs in it.
The little cogs in it.
Yeah, for Cameron.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He thought it was super killer. So.
Yeah.
The burls are double burled, baby. They're a couple little entrepreneurs and they're awesome.
Yep. Our fellow
Goslings.
Fellow Goslings for sure. At Adam Narrates and at resinby_dreamer. You can find them both there on Instagram. And I
think that's it.
Yeah, let's go get some chips and salsa.
Yeah, I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome. All right. John Bennardo, Just a Typo. Get that book. It's pretty awesome. We're really looking forward to Nick's looking forward to finishing it. I'm looking forward to reading it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I am Jonathan.
I'm Nick.
And we are the Goslings.